Hey guys, just a quick overview here. I found this pretty great Codesandbox IO that allows you to spin up a virtual machine out of nowhere for free to some extent. So let's jump in and see what it's possible to do with this one. So I'm already logged in here, so you don't need to wait for me, but you can see here that it's on free. It's a free account. You can see this is the dashboard, and you can view the videos at your own time. But what I want to point out here is that there is this repositories which allows you to connect your GitHub automatically. So you can see here you can go import from GitHub and it's going to scan all of your repositories. So just as a context, this is the tool that I have, and you can see here that it's showing one of them because the other one is already imported. And then I can open this one and see the branches available for me. So the branches available is main, and I could potentially create a new branch from here as well. So that's the repository side of things. But let's start from the bottom up. So when you create a new virtual machine here, you have different templates. So the old version is this one here without the cloud tag. So the cloud tag is the new version. Let's start from the beginning. So let's open a vanilla one here. So this vanilla JavaScript one, you can see here there is this specific UI. So this is running just in your browser. So everything that you do here is sort of emulated. And you can do everything that you want, and it should reflect here. But this is the old way of doing stuff. What you actually want, if you mistakenly open this browser one, you can come here to the Docker and yes, convert. It's just one way of doing that. The other way is to just change the URL accordingly. Just start with small p sandbox, and that should be everything that you need. And this is the new experience. So this is not emulating, so you're actively running so the way that I call it, micro VM, right? So it's just a small little VM available for you. You can see here that it's setting everything up, and it automatically scans what you have here in place. And you can see here there's a package, it knows how to start it. So there is some quality of life improvements here. But that's not all. So you can come here. So this is where you're going to run your tasks and terminals. So if I open a new terminal here, you can see here that I'm in a full VM here. So I'm running as that user, which probably is created on the fly. And from here, I can do whatever I want, as in a VM, right? So here I can go here. Let's say that I want to use npm as opposed to yarn. So npm install, just because I'm more familiar with that, but it's the same thing as yarn. And then npm start. Oops, no. Npm run start. And that should spin up a new server. So I have it running here and now here as well. So it opened a new port. If I missed that, I can see it's here somewhere. Yep. So here's a second one. And you can go crazy with this, but let's just close it. Close it. Let's close everything. Yep. And you can continue from where you left off. Cool. So that's the sandbox experience. So this is the second one. So the first one is the browser, which is not great. The second one is this micro VM, so it allows you to spin up a server. The way that you configure it is through this Codesandbox. So you can configure it to your own wish or your own environment. So you could spin up a server with a Python, let's say, already installed. So you don't need to know all of that. The other way to do that is to go to the dashboard And they already have some templates where you can just create a new one out of these cloud templates. So let's say that I'm developing with, let's see, Gatsby here. Yeah, Python is here. So you're gonna see that this does have some different configurations in terms of how to set up this VM. So here's how they configure. So they are pulling this image out of the Docker Hub, right? So this is the Python environment. Let's say that I want to test out a different version. So here's my Python environment. So if I change here, let's say I want to test it out on number 10, save it, it's going to ask to refresh. Yes, so it's going to rebuild the whole VM again. So see, it's building container image, and then it's going to install the requirements, so, which sits in here, which is none at the moment, but that's how you install new requirements. And okay, so the third way to interact with it is through repository. So it's integrating everything that you know about GitHub into this VM. So you can potentially go here and create a new repository. Let's call it Python test. And here's this how the Git organization can Codesandbox workspace. But most importantly, here you can see it's set to private. This is for paid accounts only. So if you're going to need to change to public and then create a repository. So that's how you keep everything free. Let's give it a moment. So it's going to create a repository here in my GitHub account. So this is my alter ego account just to test things out. So you see it's already there and it's already here, right? So now let's check the integration. Let's say that, so you can see here in the main branch. So if I want to create a branch, and let's call it update text. Oh, the text. So it's going to check out to this recently created branch, and then from here I can come here and say, okay, now it's going to be print hello sandbox. That was here, right? Then it's still installing, all that stuff. But if I run it again, it should. Let's try with this one. Yep, cool. So the task, you can set it here. So that what the task will do is gonna run Python main py. So you can play around with it, or you can jump into the terminal and do the same thing, right? So there, it's no different. Let me just make sure that I'm happy. Yep. So it's no different than come here and say main.py. So you can interact with it as a virtual machine as well. So it's all good. Now that I have it set up correctly, so I say update reply, that's fine. I can double check and I can commit and push. It should, yep, it's live. Now I'm going to open a pull request out of here and then create a pull request. Another integration that I have available is that as soon as you do that, you can assign someone else to review. There's no reviewers, but if you want, you can do that. And the person that's going to review, they can just come here and jump into the web editor. So open that in a new tab, and that's going to spin up a new VM just for them, so they can review. They can come here. Okay, so you can see here that there's 2 people connected now, and then they can come here. Let's say that they prefer working like that. Then they go Python main.py. Yeah, it's working, so it's all good. So they can come here, close, merge, and confirm. So it's pretty handy, and then come delete the branch. It's not necessary anymore, and then integrate all the issues, everything that you already know how to work with. So that's the gist of it. I think it's pretty good service that they're providing here. In another video, I may talk about the GitHub code spaces, Gitbot. There are a few other providers, that does offer something very similar to this, and with a different way to configure your own environment, but they all have their own appeal. So yeah, that's it for today.